Hello, everyone. Mackie here, and welcome back to the Mid-Season Madness Day 2. It is all part of the Mid-Season Invitational 2026 review to recap everything that's going on inside and sometimes outside the Rift. Now, of course, as mentioned, we got Psychopathic Poro, who's going to talk about Game 2 of the event. He will provide you the drafts and the analysis and the highlights and all kinds of stuff, and I will provide you the numbers. Now, I'm gonna do a little bit different from what happened yesterday. He's gonna tell you all the highlights and everything from the games, and then I'll give you the statistical analysis, the best player, the three best players of the game, the Timu of the series, and then of course back to highlights and then stats, and then he'll have a prediction tomorrow, and then of course coming up in a couple of hours, I will have my prediction for the elimination match, and I think based on how the series went a couple of hours ago, I think we all know how this goes. So, without further ado, it's time to go back to my boy Poro for the analysis. Say hello to everybody, Poro.
Hey guys, Poro here with the recap for Day 2 of MSI 2026. This time we have two BO5s between KC and T1, and then TL versus Deep Cross. Yesterday was a 6-game day, hopefully this time we get more. The winner of KC versus T1 will move on to the final round to qualify out of play-ins, and the loser of TL versus Deep Cross will be eliminated from MSI 2026. I predicted a 3-1 for both series, the first in favor of T1 and the second in favor of TL. Let's not waste any more time and head straight into the first series. The Game 1 draft for T1 is very good. It felt like they had much better prep than what KC were ready for. KC went for the Orianna first pick, and T1 went the line where you grab Nocturne and then fish for good solo lane matchups, the most obvious of which is Akali. KC then grabbed Ashe Seraphine Blind, confirming 3 immobile squishy backliners, and T1 respond with the Melflex, which can go bot when paired with something like Camille or Pyke, and is also an Ashe Seraphine hard counter. The Pyke is especially good because it allows Faker to take something aggressive mid on 5 due to Nocturne and Pyke running around applying a lot of pressure for both solo lanes, and Faker does end up grabbing the Akali last as KC secured the
I see that T1 hovering Locke, of course. In case maybe people don't know, Locke is a brand new champion in League of Legends, just recently released, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And by rule, you cannot play new champions in an international tournament like MSI. He might be available for like next split, but cannot play in this. But moving on, T1 did not play Locke. Come on, guys, that's crazy.
The Fury Orianna combo. On 5, T1 actually had a bunch of good options. They could have fished for a Sylas angle mid, or gone Jace mid Sylas top. They could have gone hard engage top like a Malphite and then put the Jace mid. They could have gone any number of kill lanes mid to punish Ori. They could have even put Mel mid and gone any standard kill ADC to threaten bot lane more. Despite the fact that KC have strong champions and some decent combos, I think T1 outmaneuvered KC in the draft at every possible turn, and they should be able to win this one easily with all of their counterplay and proactive options.
Wow, I did not realize. I think yesterday, I thought like when Nightmare initialized talk about it, I think they said that KC draft looked really good in their opinions. I mean, their opinions and your opinion is gonna be like kind of mixed, of course, but I don't know, man. The way I look at this draft, I feel more T1 inclined, of course, with the backline accents and the damage, of course. I mean, yeah, Ashe is going to provide you damage, but not as much. You're going to rely on the Orianna ball. I mean, the only person who could actually do something is Yike, but even then, it's like, can you do that against like the disengage of the Pyke and the Mel, of course, reflect? I don't think so. So I think I'm agree with you. Casey's draft looked sus to me.
Okay, so the game ended in 6 minutes. This is going to be a pretty fast one. First, KC tried to go for a bot side invade using the early Ashe Seraphine Prio, but T1 were able to defend the invade properly. Then they went for a play extension with Pyke hooks, and even though Pace and Keria had a communications breakdown with the spells, they still turned the invade around and got multiple kills. With the T1 bot lane accelerated, they were able to pair up with the owner to keep stomping it. Busio died on an attempted crash, and then a minute later, Kalist died to an easy Nocturne gank. Since there's nothing else to talk about for the game other than that T1 kept their foot on the gas and didn't give KC room to breathe, this is a great time to explain my rating system a bit more. Yike, Kalist, and Busio all got docked points for some bad decision making here and there, especially for not being able to weather the storm at all. It's supposed to be a bad matchup, but not this bad. Yahoo also missed way too many shockwaves in this one, which made every comeback attempt pretty impossible. The main point though is that you'll see when I show the ratings that KC scores aren't actually that low and T1 scores aren't actually that high. You
Understand.
see, I think this draft was genuinely so unplayable for KC that as long as T1 are playing fairly properly, I can't even begin to imagine how KC could possibly win it. Because their champions are so hard to play in this draft, them falling behind and getting stomped isn't due to their own individual performance as much as it would normally be. Likewise for T1, while Keria, Owner, and Pays all accelerated the game well and had some cool mechanical moments, this is also what their champions are expected to do to win the game, and additionally, at some point, T1 started doing some happy gaming and giving back shutdowns with over-aggressive positioning since they knew the game was sealed.
Yep.
Because of these two factors, they didn't have to do all that much to win apart from executing the draft at a solid level, which is why the scores don't have to be that high. Great win from T1, but the biggest takeaway is that KC need a better plan in the back room.
Yep.
In the Game 2 draft, I think T1 had a good chance to win at first, but then they made a couple of mistakes and gave KC angles to recover. KC prioritized Cassio B1, which is a bit odd to me because it's not good into Bard, which T1 immediately snap up. Owner then grabs Wukong though, which is not great into Cassio generally, and Casey grabbed Camille Ezreal, two champions that are great into Bard. T1 then go Kate Bard to finish the combo, but this gives Casey a very strong bot side 2v2. T1 then make their biggest mistake in draft, which is going Syndra to counter Cassio, which is considered a good matchup, but the big issue is that she's now a super valuable target to go for with Camille, and Casey haven't picked their jungler yet either, in which they go Kiana, which is an extremely good pick in this spot due to having great targets across the board. I think Syndra should be a long-term weakness for T1, and the Bard and Wukong have a somewhat awkward game at best, whereas Casey should have multiple strong lanes and a better team fight. Casey draft win for me. This game.
Yep, that's true. I mean, look at this. It's like, yeah, this is like you got Camille engaged, you got the Kiana engaged, you got the Renekton engaged. I got so much engaged, so much poison. It's like, how will a T1 manage to win this game from a horrible draft? Poro, can you explain, please?
Game was an absolute banger, and I think it was the best game of the tournament by far. Right at the start of the game, Owner is able to perfectly identify what Casey's big point of pressure early is, and he goes for a super creative invade, sneaking through bot lane to invade Casey's bot side. His plan is to do Yike's bot side camps, and then click bot to chunk the Ezreal Camille, making the early lane strength for KC obsolete. We can see the lane going in favor of KC with the early trades, as Pays is forced to barrier early and chug his pots, but nobody on KC is ready for Wukong to appear in the lane on this timer, and Owner even leaves the ward next to Raptors so he has perfect information of when Yike can show up. All three of them go aggressive onto Busio, killing him and getting first blood. Maybe it was too far, as Yike is able to show up and turn the play into a 2 for 2, but the point is that Caitlyn is now ahead, something that should have been super difficult to achieve. Owner then reads Yike like a book on an attempted gank timer, dropping his Krugs to be there and block Kiana from entering the play. The KC bot lane clicked aggressively to initiate the gank, but with Owner stopping Yike from joining, Pays and Keria are able to turn the 2v2 and get kills, and Yike is then chased down and shut down. The game state is way better than expected for T1, and it's almost all off the back of Owner's great pathing. Then, at 5:30, a very weird play happens top. Based on the pings on the minimap, it seems like Owner is clicking Krugs and pinging that he wants to invade the Krugs. But then, right after pinging on the way to Krugs, he suddenly clicks top and Doran flash E's Renekton trying to get the kill. It looks like Doran called for the play, then tried to ER the Renekton, but couldn't press R because his W auto went through instead, giving Kana time to flash out. Regardless, even if the play resulted in a kill, it still confirms that Wukong is topside, and Kiana is able to click bot, giving T1 two big bot side kills to equalize the entire game. Then, off the reset, Busio was able to open top, and they dive Doran to put Kana in a great position in the lane. Owner is there to make it a 1-for-1, but KC now have a decent gold lead off of what started as a disastrous early game. T1 respond with yet another topside play, this time sending in 4 people to dive Renekton on the lane swap timer, but KC once again respond with the cross map, as Busio and Yike dive Faker, getting the Syndra's flash. What should happen now is that since there's 4 minutes until the Drake spawns, KC have a timer when Yike gets his ult back where he can flash ult to Syndra, getting a guaranteed kill. Faker dying here wouldn't necessarily be his fault, as it's more of a consequence of the bad pick and draft. Instead though, Faker walks up to the Kiana very greedily and is punished hard by Busio moving down, dying without Casey needing to burn a single resource. This is super bad for the game, as Faker is still a target for the Drake fight, but Yike didn't have to burn his flash to do it, meaning that fight should be heavily Casey favored. Additionally, Keria gets jump scared by Yike invading Raptors and is picked off as well, opening up that gold lead even more. Because of all of this, T1 have to give over the second Drake, but Kalist and Busio pulled the trigger on a fight anyway, catching Pays sleeping as they pick up a 2v2 kill mid lane. Out of the replay, T1 think they have a timer to catch Yike out, and they do manage to get the kill, but this isn't T1's side of the map, and Yike stalls long enough that the rest of KC are able to move in and turn the play into a 2-for-1. Now, Casey has an extremely large lead and are taking control of the game. A minute before the third Drake spawned, Faker decided to push in bot lane super deep and play for tier 2 plates, and Yahoo sees an opportunity to punish the overstep, trading flashes with the Syndra. He continues to push in, trying to chase down Faker a bit, but Owner is there with the trap, and the two of them take down the Cassio. At surface value, it may seem like a positive play for T1, since they traded flashes and got the kill. However, this is actually heavily KC favored. Cassio will respawn in time for the Drake, and Syndra yet again has no flash, meaning she's a super easy target for all of the KC tools. Unlike with the second Drake, T1 actually do decide to show up and fight this one. Showing up to this is a mistake though, and they make an even bigger mistake by slightly misplacing the line brush control ward, meaning Casey have full vision of T1 walking in. Busio flash ults the no flash Syndra, Kana is there with the TP flank, and Casey are able to layer a great wombo combo on all of T1, getting a 4-for-2 fight win with Soul Point. On top of that, Yahoo finds a solo kill bot lane on Faker, and the momentum seems like it's headed towards a Casey game win. We all know the drill though, it's an international, and that means it's time for some T1 bullshit magic.
Yeah, yeah. Now we get into the magic. Now we get into the BS. T1 International BS Magic. It should be a product. It should be a Riot Games product. After all, T1 are the most marketable team ever and probably sell all the skins. So T1 International Magical BS should be like a trademark, I guess.
Right in front of the Baron with Yahoo still bot side, T1 decide to send it on a 5v4 top side. Keria starts it off with an ult onto Camille, then Doran teleports behind everyone, and when Casey postured to defend Busio out of the stasis, Owner flashes in with Doran's flank, and the two ults combine together to
Callist. Why?
To defend
Why?
Busio.
I think Nymera said it. Nymera initialized. Good people, good stream last night. Shout out to them. They said, why? Why did Callist have to go into the Wukong ulti? Why did he have to do that? You don't even need to. Oh my goodness, Callist. Dude. I mean, great play by T1, but still.
Out of the stasis, Owner flashes in with Doran's flank, and the two ults combine together to create a huge teamfight win for T1, a 4-for-0 with Baron as the prize. The entire gold lead is gone in an instant. Casey still have a good chance though, as their soul is spawning soon. At this fourth Drake fight, Busio again tries to go onto the no flash Syndra, but this time the follow-up from the team is a bit far away, and despite all the tools being thrown into the fight, Faker doesn't die. T1 claim a 3-for-0 and take the Drake, claiming the gold lead and stopping the threat of soul for another 5 minutes. I actually don't know how T1 does it, it's just wizard bullshit and there's no other explanation. KC are able to ward off the Baron.
And by the way, this is the exact same thing as a Team Liquid game. This is literally the exact same thing that happened to Team Liquid yesterday. Like, right from, like, the minute... Like, it's literally the same thing. This entire series was literally the same thing as a T-Law game. I just don't know, man. They have to, like, shake hands with a witch or something, because this is BS, man. This is absolute BS. I just don't know how to explain it. I can't explain it, man.
Baron push with a teleport flank from Kana that results in Faker dying and the junglers trading 1-for-1, so despite everything that happened, the game is back to basically a neutral state. Busio finds a nice play mid to catch Pays and kill him, but then gets caught in return. With the Camille dead and the Caitlyn back up, T1 decide to go for the Baron. Casey try to contest, but are stonewalled by Doran, who trades his life for the objective. It seems like T1 can maybe go from the Baron to the Soul and then close the game out, but Kana makes a game-saving play by hiding in the topside line brush, dealing a large amount of damage to multiple T1 members and forcing Syndra to flash once again. The health bars are blinking, and because of it, Casey have the free soul. Faker tries a desperate teleport to contest, but nobody else is even close to the play, and Casey secure the Drake, followed by walking bot side and killing Faker. 33 minutes into the game, the gold is dead even. Casey have the Mountain Soul, and they go for the play that will decide the game. It starts with a flank position from Busio, with nobody on T1 knowing that Camille is ready to go in. Pays is pushing up on mid, but he has Flash and GA. Bard is there next to him, but isn't the most valuable target to one-shot. Syndra is seen in a brush with a Farsight and is also in range to be engaged on, but she's far away from the rest of the team. Only able to pick one target, Busio has to make a snap decision and everyone on KC has to follow. The target he picks is Pays, but Keria lands a massive Bartle right before his GA is about to be popped, stalling at just the perfect moment, and then Faker lands a 2-man scatter, Doran lands a 2-man stun in the backline, and Keria gets Pays out with a portal, leading to Casey's teamfight falling apart. Throughout all of this, Pays didn't even have to flash, and Callista and Yahoo aren't able to outplay the 2v4 as T1 instantly win the game. Had Busio selected Bard, maybe the initial one-shot could have led to a winning fight. Had he
Mhm.
selected Syndra, maybe the team can get there to follow and the map would open up afterwards. Both choices could have also led to defeat as well, though, and
Mhm.
it's impossible to know exactly what would have happened. Either way, it was a super fun game to watch with
Yeah.
back and forth at every turn, and
Yeah.
T1 are able to move the series score to 2-0.
Yep.
The Game 3 draft is back in
Actually, I'm going to spoil you right now. I think Carrier was my statistically the MVP. But I agree. I think Owner deserves some credit, of course. But this was a good game. This was a fun game, of course, between these two teams. It's probably one of the best games of the tournament so far. Fortunately, this is where the funness ends because game three, uh, I'm gonna let Poro do game three. I just, man,
2-0. The Game 3 draft is back in T1's favor in my opinion.
yeah,
KC grabbed Varus B1, which is a powerful pick that can be flexed bot or top, and T1 grabbed Ryze, which is high prio for them, and Jarvan, who is good into Varus no matter where it goes. KC grabbed Annie Shinjiao, giving them a solid core of champions with lots of tools to make plays and win fights. T1 then responded with Yorick, a super interesting option. The threat of Yorick is that now if Varus goes top against Jarvan, and if Jarvan is willing to gank top, then Varus will die over and over, so the idea is that it removes the option of a flex and incentivizes Varus to go bot. Then Paze grabs Lucian, a good champion to survive any lane Casey would try to go. In my opinion, Casey have two options here. Either they can put the Varus bot and pick something solid into Yorick like Cho'Gath, Set, Aurelia, something like this. The other option is to put Varus top anyway, tell him to lane aggressively as if he's strong side, and challenge Owner to gank top, and in response, they lock in a hard winning bot lane 2v2 and dive bot as a cross map. Finding a winning 2v2 into Lucian lanes is pretty hard, but if they can find something, this would be a great option for the draft. In the end, they decide to go Gnar, a champion where if Yorick is able to survive early, the Gnar will be a side lane liability, so it's a choice I don't like that much. In the end, I think Casey's draft will struggle to get through early game, with Jarvan having a lot of very easy targets to set behind,
yep.
and Casey having no clear lanes to progress the game through.
Mhm.
It feels like they'll be too slow and will never make it to mid game in any even state. I like T1 for this game, and we might end up with our third straight 3-0.
Yep.
Once again, we have a case of Paze and Keria destroying the enemy team in a 2v2 as they were applying pressure from minute 1. Kalista and Busio didn't respect the level 2 timer, and Keria is able to trade flashes with the Varus, forcing both Casey bot laners to take a bad base. Then, Owner had a no flash target to punish bot side, so we went bot and flashed on Kalist, and even with Yike there to defend the play, it resulted in a 2-for-1 in favor of T1. The bot side gapping didn't end either, as Busio died 2v2 shortly after, and Faker came in with a surprise roam to pick up a kill onto Kalista as well, now resulting in 4 deaths for the KC bot side. There was one glimmer of hope for KC though, as Kana was doing super well in the individual top matchup. He had a good trade on Yorick early which forced out the flash and the teleport, and then with those tools down, he found a solo kill, opening a tangible lead. Now the battle lines have been drawn. T1 will focus bot side and win through Paze, and KC have no choice but to focus top side and hope that Kana can 1v9. This is how the game was progressed. Yike went top and got Gnar another kill onto Doran, then T1 won a bot side 3v3 which got him some plates for Lucian, then there was a super chaotic scenario where Paze ended up styling on KC to outplay a TP flank,
Goodness.
but Kana was
One more time. Just
there was
one
a
more
super
time.
chaotic scenario where
Okay.
Paze ended up styling on KC to outplay a TP flank, but Kana was
Pays, man. That is just naughty. That is just absolutely naughty, dude. That Lucian game, just magnifique, I guess.
able to get one more kill top, with Busio sitting top for like 3 waves. Both Paze and Kana have most of their team's gold, having large individual leads over the opposition. At the Herald fight, T1 were able to secure the objective, but Casey all barreled in, and while Busio died to Paze, he was able to get the Lucian's flash, and on the other side of the fight, Kana and Yahoo were able to get the Gnar 2 more kills. Lucian is now 4-0, 3k gold up on Kalist, and Kana is 6-0, 3k gold up on Doran. T1 has leads everywhere else, and they're able to take the Drake and use Herald to open up the gold lead even more, and by 20 minutes, it seems like T1 will easily be able to win despite the Fed Gnar. KC posture to try to make an aggressive play to save the game, but T1 are there for the punish, and Busio ends up wasting his flash and dying without hitting anyone. Feeling the advantage, Faker tries to extend the play by ulting into the enemy team, but this was way too far as Doran isn't in the play at all.
That realm ward from Taker is not it. That was not it, man. That realm warp is not it.
So it's a 4v4 where T1's bot lane have no safe way to move into the engage. The Realm Warp ends up killing both Ryze and Jarvan, and Paze also gets baited to move in, where he is also caught out and killed. Casey pick up 3 kills and get a Baron, bringing the game back to a neutral position.
Mm.
After playing excellently for 22 minutes and carrying the team on his back, though, Kana would begin to make some costly mistakes. On the Baron push, he overestimated his
Why?
strength and stepped up too close to
Why?
Lucian,
Why,
and
Kana?
Pays ran him
Why?
all the way down through mid lane to pick up the kill, effectively ending the Baron push.
Just why? I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but why? Why, Kana? You've been look at you. You are what? You were 8-0, 8-0-2. You're literally the heart and soul of this Common Corp trying to come back from getting a game. And yet you did this? Not once, but I think twice?
Then, Kana would get caught out again on mid shortly after, recalling too far up and being solo killed by Lucian. With Pays at 4 items, he feels confident enough to outplay anything, and he steps up really far mid to challenge Casey to go on him. Yike flashes forward but doesn't quite get the knockup, then Pays spaces out the anti-engage, and then Busio tries to flash ult, but Pays flashes out of that as well, and with all of the tools blown, he's able to easily carry the rest of the fight, 5-0 acing KC and ending the series. While this one was much harder for KC to win than Game 2, they still had a chance at times, but couldn't put together enough clean sequences to close it out. With that, we get our third 3-0 of the tournament, and T1 are advancing to the promotion match. I thought the team played better today than yesterday, with everyone having some huge moments throughout the series. Sometimes a player or two was lagging behind in the game, but other players were there to step up and deliver a great performance in their stead. If I had to take a guess, today and yesterday are all T1 are going to need to shake out any rustiness they may have had heading into the tournament, and now they'll be able to play at 100%. As for KC, it's honestly quite funny how similar their trajectory in this series was to TL's yesterday. Stomped hard in Game 1, had a heavily winning position in Game 2 but threw the game anyway, and lost everywhere except for one roll in Game 3 where the top laner tried to 1v9 but it wasn't enough. If I had to take my pick, I'd say I thought KC played slightly better than TL, due to the fact that I thought T1 felt more comfortable today than yesterday, but it really doesn't matter if neither team can piece together a single win. We can now move on to the second series of the day between TL and Deep Cross to see who will be meeting KC in that lower bracket match. In the game.
Before we do that, it's time for my statistical anomalies for this series, of course. And yeah, this is literally Control V on that series between T1 and Team Liquid, Alienware, and then KC T1. This is like Control V, of course. Let's look at this series. Owner Game 1 was pretty much impressive. He was good on Nocturne, 7-2 and 12, 9.5 KDA, 70 kill participation, and 22.3k damage. Kyria, of course, he was brilliant on the board. I think Poro had Wukong, owner as the player of the series and probably the player of this game. It is what it is. I have him the third best player on this team. It's based on the stats, guys, and the community sentiment. It's based on stats and community sentiment. Nothing more, nothing less. But to each their own. 1, 6, and 17 on the board, 3 KDA, 67 kill participation percentage, and 77.5k damage. Pays on the Lucian, 10, 1, and 7, 17 KDA, 100 kill participation, 31.5k damage. And for the 3 stars of the series, Pays 38 and 27, 7.1 KDA, 80 kill participation, and 72.7k damage. Kyria on the support, 5'11", 47, 4.7 KDA, 73 kill participation, and 23.1k damage. And owner, 29 and 35, 6.1 KDA, 77 kill participation, and 50.6k damage. I think, you know what, now that I mentioned it, I think Pace did okay in Game 3. But you could say that Owner was really good in Game 1, was instrumental in Game 2, and I don't think he did much in Game 3, but I think he was fine. I think, you know what, I'll make an executive change. I'm going to make an executive change, guys. I think Owner deserved the first star. I think Owner deserves the first star. Let me just see. Let me just make some changes. And there you go. So Owner's my first star, Kyria my second 2-star, and my Pay is my 3rd star. And for my team of the series is Kalist. He did not have a great series. I think the bot lane from Common Corp did not have a great series. 5, 16, and 23 with a 1.8 KDA. I forgot to even put the kill participation and damage, of course. But he did not have a great series, to be honest. He did not have a great day. And you saw from the camera, after that Game 3, he looks absolutely dejected. And boy, consider this as a French team, by the way. And you know the French fans are going to be absolutely nauseous. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for him. It's going to be really hard for him. But there is still the NA matchup. And spoiler alert, we're going to get to the NA clap-in of DCG in this segment, but this was a mirror image from like yesterday's game into today's game. It just feels like a mirror image, and they just you have to put your hands up and just like, what can you do against a team that has international BS magic in their side and a great performance by Pays and owner, of course, and Kyrgia being the best sport in the world, and it just goes to show you like Doran go 0-5 in that game 3. Many people forgot that Doran go 0-5 in that game 3, and it doesn't even matter. If T1 can win a game with an 0-5 Doran, that's it for everybody. That is it for everybody. You should pack your bags, unplug your controllers, just quit the game right now, and just leave. Just leave right now. It's nauseating. It's amazing and nauseating at the same time. And yeah, oh my goodness. Okay. Let's move on to the second series. Let's move on to the second series right now before I'm just gonna move on to
The Game 1 draft, Deep Cross went for a very standard draft. Jarvan first pick, TL responds Bard, but then goes Xin Zhao, which I thought was a bit weird. Caitlyn makes more sense to me, a pairing with Bard that is good into Jarvan, and you can go jungle on 3 since Deep Cross already picked it. Then Deep Cross go Rumble Cassio, the Rumble to pair with the CC jungler, but the blind Cassio feeling odd, especially since Bard is already showing. TL then go Akali for quit having comfort, but once again pass on the Caitlyn, meaning it'll just get banned. TL grab Ornn, a Morgan classic and a fine matchup into Rumble, and Deep Cross grab Jhin, which can outrange most of TL's tools while synergizing well with Rumble, and Rakan to sync up with Jarvan. I actually do think Deep Cross had an insane pick. This is a perfect Maokai support game. Hard winning matchup into Bard, super good into Akali later on, and pairs extremely well with the Rumble equalizer. The way they have it though, they end up with some really fundamentally stable stuff, with jungle support synergy and a good team fight. For TL, it's more complicated with some good fight starters and flexible fighting options, but overall I'm taking the Deep Cross structure. We can see the strength of this jungle support duo from the start of the game. Xiaoxi and Feng were doing fairly well in early lane, and it gave Deep Cross a good timer to make a play bot, in which Rakan was able to use the threat of Jarvan to trade flashes with the Varus. Then Pop9 went for an invade on the Raptors respawn, which TL decided to contest, but Feng was still in the area while Yam was pushing out bot, so it's a 4v3 in favor of Deep Cross. A lot of spells go flying, but enough CC lands onto Xin Zhao that Hongsuo is able to chase him down and pick up a kill. Then, to punish that earlier flash getting blown, Pop9 farms to 6, clicks bot, and flash ults Varus, picking up an easy kill for Deep Cross and starting them out with a nice lead. From here, it shouldn't be too hard to execute as long as Deep Cross play together. They have Jarvan as their fight starter, Rakan and Jhin for follow-up, and the equalizer can come on top of that. They should always be able to kill targets they start the fight on, and then go from there. It starts out decently as the two teams fight over grubs, trading the objective and getting a 1-for-1 after Hongsuo hits a nasty ult. The game begins slipping away after this though, as TL finds some good plays. First, Deep Cross go for a top gank, but the damage is not quite there, and it ends up going even. Then, because Pop9 is top, TL can pull the triggered bot, and they find a kill onto Jhin. Then, on the Drake, Core is able to stall out the secure with his ult, and Jose is able to walk in and steal the objective away while killing the Deep Cross jungler. They fight back though, getting another nice 3-man play onto Yon mid, grabbing another kill, and everything is even heading into the Herald fight. Deep Cross all show up to the objective looking to 5v5, and this is their big chance to open up the game. They have amazing teamfight tools that are all online, and Yon's flash is still down. The execution ends up being extremely scuffed though, as Florin throws down a dry equalizer that misses everyone, and Pop9 and Xiaoxi can't seem to get past Morgan. Everyone on Deep Cross has to evacuate as TL swarm their carries, and the fight goes 2-for-0 in favor of TL. It felt like Deep Cross were simply not on the same page at all in regards of how to fight this. With the comp, Jarvan needs to go first, then Jhin and Rakan are follow-up, and then the equalizer is layered onto whoever gets CC'd. Pop9 and Xiaoxi not being willing to dive onto anyone aggressively is bad enough, but Florin throwing his equalizer without any of the 4 CC champions he has on his team setting him up first is an insane crime. It's a clear indicator that Deep Cross don't actually know how to fight with the comp at all, and it's at this moment that I knew they had no chance of winning this game. As expected, the rest of the game was a giant mess that isn't worth covering much deeper. Florin's equalizers were terrible in every fight, Hongsuo and Feng were useless all game, and Pop9 made a couple of bad plays as well. The only player on the team who played pretty solidly throughout was Xiaoxi, as TL were able to win easily despite not being the cleanest themselves.
True.
A disappointing first game, and potentially an indicator for what's to come for the rest of the series. Not going to sugarcoat it, this Game 2 draft looks pretty cooked for Deep Cross. TL will go first to pick Ryze, Deep Cross grabs Senna Nautilus, then TL responds Ziggs Rel. I think Deep Cross should go a strong AD jungler here, and then ban 2 higher damage AD jungle options, so that way TL are over-indexed on magic damage, and then they can save counterpick for top, but instead they go blind Gnar and try to protect ban it, meaning TL can grab whatever they want. TL take away the Pantheon, which is the jungler Deep Cross really wanted, and they also get the TF top counter into Gnar, meaning they have triple roaming globals and winning lanes.
Yep.
Top 9 rounds it out with Olaf in an effort to try to help win those 5v5s, but it looks bleak. Deep Cross already showed they suck at laning with Sen and Nautilus, and their comp has no clear identity or winning lane anywhere, whereas TL have all the proactivity and a much easier comp to execute. I think there's a very low chance Deep Cross can ever win this, and it might be one of the more depressing games to watch if it goes how I'm expecting it to go. Well, the game was extremely depressing, but not because it was an underwhelming TL stomp, but instead because this was a game filled with a massive amount of mistakes by both sides. Right away, it's worth mentioning that Feng has a really bad Senna setup. The reason why Senna became a broken pick was partly because of DFT being added, but also because of Doran's Helm allowing her to stack Jack of all trades extremely quickly due to how many unique stats Static Shiv gives you. Helm, Shiv, Boots, and either Cleaver or Manamune second is enough to get 10 stacks, getting full joke value. I think Feng maybe just doesn't know that though, because he went Helm and Static, but his rune setup was Fleet Footwork primary, which is objectively worse than DFT, especially for lane phase, and then Sorcery secondary with Mana Flow and Celerity, meaning he literally doesn't have either rune that made Senna broken in the first place. Did the rune setup affect much? Probably not, but it's still insane to me that this is somehow the setup he ended up with. If he did the same yesterday, I missed it entirely. Anyways, Senna's lane being tagged by having the wrong runes may have actually impacted stuff, because the two of them got blown out in the bot side 2v2 again. Xiaoxi's hooks in lane were terrible for the most part and led to all losing trades, but who knows, maybe the trades would have led to fine lane states if Senna had DFT instead. With the trades being horrible though, Jose is able to click bot and dive, starting out TL with a bot side lead. A bit later, he goes for a revisit trip bot, and initially it looks good, but then it quickly devolves into madness. He flashes forward with basically zero follow-up and no kill threat, wasting the spell and putting himself in a compromising position in which he's eventually killed. At the same time, Hongsuo goes flying in with a badly placed Talia ult and also kills himself, which gives TL an exit dive onto Feng, turning the play into a super scuffed 2-for-1 in TL's favor. Feng is chunked out super hard right after when he gets back and has to take a bad base, and then Deep Cross go for the grubs, which results in everyone on TL shifting bot to zone Feng off the turret. None of this ended up mattering that much though, because Deep Cross set up a 4-man play onto Jose, who is unknowingly standing on a ward, and Senna is able to grab the kill. Somehow, we're 11 minutes in, and Senna has a gold lead. TL make a 3-man play top with all of their globals, but Deep Cross grabbed the Drake as compensation, so the game is somewhat even. TL with a slight gold lead, Deep Cross with the objective stacking, and Senna in a decent spot. This game will be decided by whether Deep Cross can get that soul point or not, and both teams want to fight to the death over it. The sequence starts with Deep Cross thinking they have a catch bot when Jose is entering river for setup, and they get flashes from both Morgan and Jose. The cost of this was the Olaf ultimate though, a huge tool for the fight. The teams then regroup mid, and Core JJ is mispositioned right next to a Mega Gnar, as everyone on Deep Cross move over to kill him. Before dying, Core is able to flash over the wall and ult, which is enough time for Ryze and Ziggs to do big damage to everyone, and even though Core ends up dying, it's in trade for the Gnar who committed pretty deep for an ult. With TL having much better health bars, they could easily secure the Drake by using some globals to reposition towards the pit and walking in for control, but they misread the situation and double ult aggressively right onto the fleeing Deep Cross, as both Pantheon and Twist of Fate are killed. It's a 3-for-3 overall, and in theory Olaf would have ult this time for a second Drake fight, but unfortunately we don't get to see what actually happened because we were stuck in a replay and didn't get to watch TL retake the area and grab the Drake for free. The kill trades don't stop, as TL go for a 3-man dive top onto Talia, but right before Hongsuo dies, he's able to land a shove onto Jose, and Pop9 is there for the cleanup where he's able to grab 2 kills before dying. The game doesn't really progress for the next few minutes, and we're back at the Drake once again, where Deep Cross will need to try to secure that soul point. Unlike last time, TL have full control of the area, and Deep Cross's jungle support completely disrespects the control and waltz right in, kicking off a fight where somehow not a single person dies, but Deep Cross are forced to retreat as TL pick up their second Drake. After grabbing it, TL walk into the enemy jungle to invade some camps, and they find Hongsuo, who is still recalling because he cancelled his base a few seconds earlier for no clear reason, and he's killed. This spirals into a domino effect where Deep Cross decide they really don't want to let Talia die alone, and they walk in without numbers to try to salvage the fight, and in the end, 3 of them die in trade for just the Rel. TL get a Baron off of this and open up the gold lead to 6k. The Baron push gets super scuffed as TL try to enter the base, and Jose dies first by jumping into the enemy base and getting killed by 3 members of Deep Cross. Then, after taking mid tier 3, both teams scrap it out as TL are exiting, and even though the fight looks good at first for TL, Senna remains untouched, and she's able to deal a lot of damage. Seeing the angle to outplay, Feng keeps clicking forward, and he dodges some spells to help secure another shutdown, ending the Baron sequence. Now, with a 9k gold lead, TL are in the enemy base and clicking to end the game. Under the Nexus turrets, Core and Jose try to CC chain the Gnar and one-shot him, but they don't have the damage and he's able to flash out. With the positioning fucked, everyone on Deep Cross starts pushing TL back, and with Olaf ult and multiple CC tools to extend the play, 4 people on TL die, and the gold is swung back by about 4k as the end attempt is a failure. At 32 minutes, we finally get the last fight of the game, as Deep Cross think Jan has overstepped mid and they fly forward to punish. Ziggs is able to slip out of the range of the Talia box, but Deep Cross sprint forward anyway, and for a brief moment, it seems like maybe the fight will go their way, as Ryze is brought down super low and Senna is pumping at full health. Jan is untouched though, and with his damage and a great engage from Rel, they're able to turn the fight and wipe Deep Cross 5 for 1 as they then end the game. Honestly, this game was pretty frustrating to watch.
Yep.
The overall level of play across the board was low, with multiple players making big mistakes
Yep.
that kept on extending the game,
Yep.
and it's moments like these where my voice regrets doing daily recaps, as I knew the script would take forever to write due to the sheer amount of action that occurred.
Yep.
Sloppy game from both sides, and
True.
now I'm tired, so let's get right to the next one. Game
Yeah.
2 draft had some super...
This game, half Team Liquid would have been a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more accurate, could have ended this game around 25, 26 minutes. The fact that this game dragging this long it just makes me feel like I don't know if I have faith for Team Liquid, even winning against KC, let alone winning being T1 again. It's oh my god, it's just yeah, I agree with Poro. Just get on with it. I got a World Cup match to watch.
Some super weird picks on both sides, but I think Deep Cross have the slightly winning comp. Orianna first pick, and TL go for the Victor angle, which wins lane but isn't as useful later on. Then Deep Cross grab Wukong as their combo piece, and Camille to be able to add more lockdown for TL's carries. In 4-5, TL go Shyvana, which is a strong Wukong Orienter in isolation, and I think Deep Cross has a perfect Gwen angle. Wins into Renekton, Florent's best champion, and is good into every champion showing in later teamfights. Instead, he goes Jax, which makes very little sense to me since it's just a slightly losing matchup into Renekton and does nothing for the game, but Deep Cross find a strong winning bot lane 2v2 with Kalista. TL's answer is to take Renata, which is also a weird pick to me, because even though she has tools to help the team survive dives, she provides very little value to the 2v2 lane and won't fix that issue. Overall, the bot side of Deep Cross should win in theory, and then Ori has a lot of champions who can get her valuable ult into some vulnerable TL carries. TL have a lot of counterplay with the Shyvana though, so it's not a big draft win. Seems like TL didn't learn anything from yesterday, as level 1, Yang gets his flash blown, and also feeds over first blood to a Camille engage, and the Deep Cross bot duo start up 600 gold. Luckily for TL though, the nameplates say Feng and Xiaoxi on it, so they quickly hand back the advantage by dying to a pre-6 Shyvana gank. Core then hounds Xiaoxi on his reset, and this leads to a play extension where Jan is able to pick up a kill on Camille, so now he's up 600 gold. Pop9 and Xiaoxi try to contest a Gromp invade a few minutes later, but this is also a mistake, as one hook from Renata is enough to get TL another kill, and Jose now has his own massive lead over Wukong. Xiaoxi then goes mid to kill Quid, but the response from TL is to dive bot and kill Feng, and even though Xiaoxi is able to get an exit kill, the Kalista is super far behind, being effectively useless at this point. From here, TL start to make the game look comically easy. Shyvana goes mid and presses R to kill Orianna, then a little bit later she goes mid again and R's again for a second kill, then Morgan solo kills Florent on a dive top, and then Deep Cross go for a super ugly play in between the bot side tier 1 and 2 turrets where they're essentially trying to dive onto an unkillable target. Quid teleports in as well, and TL turned this into a flashy 3 kills, and just like that, the gold lead is 6k at 15 minutes. For the sake of my own sanity, I'm skipping through the rest of the game. All you need to know is that TL made a couple of mistakes, dying here and there and going too greedy for an end attempt that failed, but it didn't matter because Deep Cross could never get it together, and the lead continued to be massive for TL until they aced them bot at 24 minutes and ending the series. It's a 4th 3-0 in a row, and we have yet to see a single MSI series make it past the bare minimum of games. For TL, this
is frustrating. Yeah, this is like the point of frustration. Like at this time last year, we get like at least one sweep. That's it. And now we got like 4 sweeps in this tournament. Like, come on, man. Listen, it's okay. It's okay. The real bracket will come in next week. But this is just... Yeah, this series frustrates me. Listen, the scoreline may say Team Liquid 3-0, and it's like no surprise, but I mean, the way Poro explained it and the way the game's being played and the way the mistakes have been put in, I just felt like it didn't feel good to me. This doesn't give me hope for the Team Liquid camp going into KC series. I just don't. But Who knows? Who knows? I just don't know anymore.
Series was extremely messy, and it felt like they played down to the level of the competition
Yep.
today. They'll
Yep.
have to clean up the gameplay fast if they want to beat KC tomorrow,
Yep.
and based on the results of today, it seems like neither of them have any hope for taking down T1 to make it to the main stage.
Yep.
As for Deep Cross, it's pretty sad. According to their top laner Florin, the team got to Korea later than every other team, and therefore had basically no time to boot camp. On top
Seriously?
of that, nobody was willing to scrim them, presumably due to their perceived level since they came from the LCP. It's worth talking about the fact that this is an ongoing issue. The LCP is looked down upon on a global scale, which results in less funding and less sponsorships, which creates a subpar environment to improve, which leads to a much harder time finding good results, which then adds to the global sentiment of LCP being looked down upon. It's a cycle that the
It's literally the same thing as Brazil. It is literally the same thing as Brazil. It's like the same thing about LCP. It's like you could say the same thing about the CB LOL, of course. It's like, God, this is just I feel bad for them. I just feel so bad for them. They deserve better. The LCP, as much as I don't cover this region as much, deserves better. And I don't know if it's gonna be me or Poro or anybody else, but it needs to be talked about. It needs to be supported. Maybe it's just me or anybody else, but I come on, man. And I think that's probably the reason why I did a 7-minute breakdown on Deep Cross Gaming and just chucked them away instead of like talking to them about their going through the tier 1-2 system and qualifying and do all kind of stuff and the players. I should have done that instead of just done a lazy 7-minute take on them because of I don't think Deep Cross gonna do anything much in this tournament. And then now you're hearing this and all kind of stuff. It just makes me feel sad. I feel sad for them. They deserve better. They deserve better. They're supposed to be treated better. The region deserves to treat better. And oh man, I apologize to Deep Cross Gaming and all the fans and all the LCP fans for me covering this region not as highly touted as many people is. And I hope I can do a better job once we get to another international tournament, maybe at Worlds. I can treat you guys better. But consider where you are right now in the totem pole. I mean, you and CBLOL are kind of like in the low hanging fruit of like fifth, sixth best region in the world. I mean, yeah, it's just not looking great. Poro, I'll let you finish your whole piece.
The players are trapped in with no real ways to escape, and
Yep,
even when a super promising player comes around that elevates the region for a short period of time,
yep,
they just get sniped away by a bigger region
yep,
who can offer a higher
yep,
paycheck.
yep,
There aren't any clear solutions, other than somehow finding a way to get people to take the LCP more seriously and to start watching their games to get the viewership
yep,
numbers up,
yep,
and until that happens, I fear nothing will change.
yep.
The players didn't play well today or yesterday, but the harsh reality is that these results are unfortunately mostly out of their control.
True,
I'll continue cheering for their success at these international events, and I
true.
hope you guys will too.
Amen.
Tomorrow,
I will do the same thing. I will do the same thing. Deep Cross, Teams Wicked Wales, all the other teams, I will support you. Hey, hell, I even like got commented about GAM CEO, of course, and he liked my comments. So that shows that hey, listen, there's some love in there. There's some love for some LCP players, and I hope they get the treatment they deserve, man. And it's like jeez, it's almost like the same thing with CFO. I think yes, last year when CFO made an incredible run through the worlds and of course through the MSI bracket when they finally beat the Western team and doing great, they were like the best story of the year. I had like CFO being the best team of the year to be honest, not naming the rest of the regions. And then of course you see like Hongq and Kaiwing getting picked apart like CB LOL and JDG being picked up because their budgets is bigger and better. And it's like it's the same thing as going on with all the other sports. It's like you're the best player in the like your Ipswich, your Coventry City, and your Crystal Palace of the world. Up here comes Man United and Arsenal and Man City with all the big money spent and like yeah, you got no other choice, man. You got no other choice but to go to that team because the experience and the chances of winning worlds and international events, it's got the same thing. It's like the same ring, of course, to like football and any other sport, of course. It's like small market team getting picked up by big market stock market names and vice versa. And actually not vice versa, but the same thing. But it's like, God, listen. I want to support this region, man, but I just don't know how. I think the only way to do it is like me show you highlights, talking about them, doing more. I think Polar's gonna do his best. He's got his co-streaming on LCP. There are some other co-streamers, of course, who does LCP, of course. There's some English casters who, by the way, I shout out to the English casters who was there for the Nymera stream, of course, with Initialized on his birthday. Nymera's birthday, not his. And they were there supporting Deep Cross Gaming and all kinds of stuff. Shout out to them, the English casters, the people who do work in the Vietnam Sea, in the LCP, of course, the the staff, the food people, all this kind of stuff. Shout out to them. It's a really trying time. It's a really trying time, and I hope they listen. I hope this tournament does not mean that it's LCP. Like we should chuck the LCP to the fire and just forget about it. No, if you do that, that will like kill the whole ecosystem. It's the same. I think it's literally the same thing right now with like the LCS. And by the way, Team Liquid is literally the same thing. It's a literal same thing with the LCS. It's like if all the poor performances, not great viewership, and then all of a sudden you wanted to chuck LCS. Like you can chuck LCS in the fire and they'll be fine. You chuck LCP in the other regions, of course, you'll never get a GAM or a CFO or any other region, or even the Team Secret Wells that we're on right now. So right now, it almost feels like Team Secret Wells have to literally carry this flag, and I think it's exhausting for them. It's really exhausting for them. It's really exhausting for them, and I think Paul is right. I think you need to support the LCP region, even though this region is never getting the love or the viewership that the LCK or the LCL, LPL, or even the LCS, to be exact. I think they deserve better. This region deserves better, and I hope you and everybody else who are watching my channel or watching his channel or any other channel should support the LCP. Please support the LCP and his teams, and hopefully they do well at Worlds. Now then, Poro will predict the KC Team Liquid Series, which, let's be honest, I feel like this is a fiesta right now. I feel like it's the whoever wins going to get bopped by T1. I think it's the T1 Invitational, I guess. Give me your predictions, Poro, and then we wrap it up. And oh, by the way, I forgot to even do the scores. I will do the scores after this prediction.
Tomorrow, we have one BO5 against TL and KC, and the winner will move on to face T1 for promotion to the main stage, while the loser is eliminated from MSI.
Yep.
My prediction for this series is KC 3-1 over TL.
Yep.
The two teams had the same score against both opponents, and it's also funny how KC had a very similar trajectory against T1 that TL had, but I thought the TL wins against Deep Cross were much messier than the ones KC had, and overall didn't see anything from the NA squad that would make me want to flip my ratings of the teams heading into the tournament.
True.
That's all I have for you for this one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think you can look at what KC did against T1 and then what Team Liquid did against D Cross Gaming, and it just feel like I don't have any good faith on Team Liquid to just beat KC. I know Spawn is gonna say with his big chest, I never lost to EU, and it's like that. And I know David Shine's gonna burn out the French fans and all that stuff. But listen, David, Spawn, all you Team Liquid fans and all the NA fans, there's going to be a rude awakening. It's going to be a rude awakening. I think Kalist will step up. I think Busio will step up, of course. I think, all of Common Corp will do well. I mean, listen, Common Corp Game 2 against Team T1, although it's a loss, and of course Game 3 when Kana show up, it makes me feel like, okay, KC can show me something. And unfortunately for Team Liquid, what have you showed me in the two series against T1? Like, yeah, you lost to T1, fine, but the Deep Cross Gaming series, just like, have you wouldn't played cleaner and would have been dominant, you could have won this series like a country mile, but you didn't. And now we're pretty much like, yeah, stuck with the NA-EU matchup. And I think my hope for NA to win is pretty much low. So let's just finish off with the T-Law DCG stats. Core JJ was my MVP of Game 1 on the bar, 2-2-15 with an 8.5 KDA, 6k damage, no percentage, sadly. Yawn on the Ziggs, 2-1-16, 18 KDA, 72 kill participation at 37.5k damage. And Jose Adodo on the Shyvana, 7-0-3 with a perfect KDA, 45% kill participation and 9.6k damage. For my 3 stars in the series, Core JJ, 4-10-50, 5.4 KDA, 81 kill participation at 25.2k damage. Yawn, 14-8, 833, 5.9 KDA, 70 kill participation and 97k damage. Morgan's 11, 7, and 25, 5.1 KDA, 54 kill participation, and 54.9k damage. And then for my team of the series, Fang and Eddie carry 10, 12, and 16, 2.2 KDA, 68 kill participation percentage at 49.7k damage. Yeah, I don't feel surprised about the way it works, but the way T-Law is playing against this team, like playing their food and relying on overall and talent to beat you. It's kind of like Steelers under Tomlin in the latter stages. And it's like, you can rely on talent BS to carry you, but it's like, when you face off against superior competition, it's going to be like, yeah, it's just not good enough. So yeah, anyways, I will have my predictions in the shorts of a couple of hours talking about The NA-EU matchup, I think it's going to be a really interesting one, although by Poro standards, I don't think it'll be interesting for him. I think it's going to be T-Law going to Glue Factory, pretty derby style, and it's not going to be great. I think, I will have my predictions, but I think me and Poro is going to have the same, idea. I just want chaos, but I think me and Poro have the same idea. So, anyways, I think that concludes it. Thank you all for watching. If you want more of this, subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to my channel for more League of Legends stuff. By the way, Polo is not gonna do all the League of Legends, and he's not gonna do much MSI coverage because, of course, he got family things. So you please support him. Family is really, really important, of course, especially, consider that the last year I lost somebody close. So family is important these times and times. Family is important. So I wish him all the best after the playing stage, and hopefully he'll come back for the third week of the bracket stage, or the round 3 of the bracket stage, and that means I'll fly solo for the next couple of days. So, anyways, support his channel, support my channel. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully we get some good action for the next couple of days, but honestly, I don't. And make sure you keep your pets neutered, drink some water, and make sure you show love and peace and all kinds of stuff. And please support the LCP because this region really needs the support. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow.